Doctor Who in the 90s. How do we always remember it? Well, as time has gone by, often we remember Doctor Who in the 90s as being the time where this man's stories happened. The Eighth Doctor, Doctor Who, the movie. But we often forget about, or as in my case, we just did not know about until a couple days ago, that actually in the 90s there was something else that happened in the year of 1993. It was called Dimensions in Time. Dimensions in Time. Alright, now what is Dimensions in Time? Well, I'll give you just the general info about Dimensions in Time. Dimensions in Time was a two-parter story that was broadcast in 1993 as a part of that year's Children's in Need appeal. And it was actually the first two-part serial since Revelation of the Daleks back in 1985, which, by the way, was a year before I was born. So, what was this actually? Well, it was a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Doctor Who, but it was made primarily due to the cancellation of BBC's original idea for a 30th anniversary story, The Dark Dimension. And who appeared in this two-parter? Well, this two-parter was, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, it featured the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctor, and a slew of many of the companions from Classic Who. And the Dimensions in Time, raised what was said to be over, I believe, £101,000 for children in need. And when it comes to Dimensions in Time, the fun fact about it is it was a two-parter because Children's in Need, well, it was like for, again, children in need, and it featured Kate O'Mara's last televised performance as the Ronnie. Yep, if memory serves me correctly, it definitely did that. It also was a narrative that featured a piece that was kind of a crossover between, not kind of, definitely, a crossover between the EastEnders and the Doctor Who universe. EastEnders, the show, the major narrative really was a crossover between EastEnders and Doctor Who. Now, well, this is a really cool idea, and I like stuff like this. As the years have gone by, this narrative choice has actually caused the piece Dimensions in Space to be disregarded by many fans. Very much so. And who were the writers? It was John Nathan Turner and David Roden. Now, John Nathan Turner, very few, if any, writing credits are usually attributed to him, but this is definitely one of them, and it sticks out because it was a writing credit for John Nathan Turner. And it also was the final BBC One appearance for most of these Doctor Who characters. So, what happened in Dimensions in Time? Well, the general concept is the Ronnie, played by Kate O'Mara, she traps the Doctor in Albert Square in England. The Ronnie has captured the first and second Doctor as part of her plan to assemble a menagerie of all sentient life forms throughout space and time. And I'm going to do my best to try and remember this all correctly. Sorry if I'm off. She does this hoping to use them to gain control of all individual minds in the universe. But she requires only one more specimen, a human from Earth. And knowing that the Doctor, of course he shall, will act to stop her, she creates a temporal trap to ensnare the Doctor in all his incarnations. Now, the Doctor finds himself jumping in time tracks between the year 1973, 1993, and 2013 in an area within a few miles of Albert Square and in London's East End. The Doctor is also changing back and forth between the 3rd, 5th, and 6th and 7th incarnation of himself. He's not changing back to his 4th one because his 4th one was mostly just there to warn his previous and future incarnations about what the Ronnie was doing. Now, while the Doctor is transforming between all these different incarnations of himself, Ace keeps turning into past companions. Yeah, literally. One time Ace is there, and then the next moment you see Mel, you see Susan, you see Sarah Jane Smith, you see Liz Shaw, and then Mike Yates is there, the Brigadier is there as well, actually, and sorry, I'm forgetting other people. Oh yes, Perry is there, and so is Nisa. And I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything else? Leela, of course, makes an appearance as well. Victoria makes an appearance also. And I'm probably forgetting some other people. And of course, good old K9. So yes, but Ace, she keeps turning into past campaigns of his. And a fun little moment about this one, besides all the awesome ideas of these companions mixing with different doctors, or their same doctor, is I believe this is the only time we actually see Colin Baker team up or talk with the Brigadier. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart is in this, and we see him with the Sixth Doctor. I just think it's a cool moment. And also, worse on top of all this, the Rani has released her menagerie. Her menagerie is a compilation of all the specimens that she has collected, all the sentient life forms she has assembled. And a lot of them are things we've seen from previous Doctor Who stories. A Sea Devil, I believe, a Vervoid, and I'm sure there are other ones whose names I'm just completely forgetting at right now, or they're really complicated names I just never remembered to begin with. Either way, all this to ensnare and trap the Doctor. Now, realizing that the Rani is attempting to gain control of evolution, he asks Ace, the Doctor, asks Ace, now in the form of Leela, yes, she was in form of Leela, what form she was in when the Rani cloned her. And she realizes that given the fact that the Rani cloned Romana, yes, Romana was taken by the Rani and cloned, but now, unlike the Rani does not know this, there are now two brains in the Rani's computer. Now, eventually the Doctor does free himself, his past incarnations, and all their companions, and the Doctor and Ace depart. This all happened in that 2 serial for Children's in Need. What did the audiences really think of this 2-part serial? Basically, many people were not satisfied with the story, especially under the context of the celebration of 30 years of the program. This being a celebration, people thought it just did not live up to what it should have lived up to, and they're very, very, very upset with this. And there were 3 names, if memory serves me correctly. I don't know what they, how central they are in the Doctor Who world, but 3 names of Stephen Walker, David J. Howe, and Mark Stammers. They gave it a 0 out of 10, and making sure I'm going to quote this right, they called it, because I wrote it down, they called it a dreadful travesty of a Doctor Who story. Yeah. Oh, that was pretty harsh. And unfortunately, well, despite this is a story that it seems overall when it comes to audience reaction, it's not looked on or remembered very fondly. People who are part of the project, like, the actors and Nathan Turner himself, came forward and they defended it over time, saying, hey, it's just there for, children's in need. It was there for a charity. We should respect this. We really should. Sorry, my computer moved for a second. We really should, and that's all it was. But overall, there's still people who are very, very, very upset, and perhaps even over time, they have not gotten over it. And also, it's become very forgotten. When I say I did not know about this, I genuinely mean, guys, I did not know about Dimensions in Time until someone spoke to me about it a couple of days ago on YouTube. Literally, I did not even know this thing existed. Then I looked it up and I watched it. Now, what did my thoughts about this Dimensions in Time? Besides the fact that I watched it online, and to be very honest with you guys, the quality was not very good watching it online. I couldn't always understand the actors, and it wasn't the actors, it was just the recording, because I'm watching it in a very crappy location, and simply it was probably all really well done and looked good probably on a TV and television, just not on this program online. But when it comes to this, again, it could be an idea of I was warned about what this was going to be like before I watched it, so I went in with low expectations, and because I did, I overall did very much have fun, and for what it was fun. It did what it needed to do in many respects. It really did. It was just a beautiful, charity to children's in need, but also, if my memory serves me correctly, I think this is the first time there was ever a vote-in where the audience could call in and vote to help the outcome of the show, because a character entered it and she helped. I believe it was Liz Shaw in The Doctor. She was voted to come in and help against the Rani. So yes, I believe this is one of those times in history where the audience was able to vote in, and decide the outcome of the episode. And it's a very unique idea to me for that. But seeing the doctors and companions all mixing together in that way, and the breakneck speed it was, I knew going into it what it was going to be. I just did. So I didn't have a hatred for this, and I didn't walk in with any grand, high expectations. In fact, I found to the point where sometimes it's best to walk in with low expectations so you can be pleasantly surprised by things. Yes, but I genuinely did not know that this story existed. I'm happy someone told me about it on YouTube so I could go and watch it. And I would recommend people all going and watching Dimensions in Time. Even if you like it or not, it's an interesting experience. And I know it's been dismissed by a large portion of the fan base as being canon. Whether it's canon or not is not going to be the discussion of this video. It's fine if you think it's canon. It's fine if you don't think it's canon. All I can say for Dimensions in Time is it's another thing I shall now know as Doctor Who in the 90s. And again, because someone told me about this earlier and warned me about how it was very maligned of a story or a two-parter, yeah, because of that, I walked in with lower expectations, and I overall did have fun with the story. That's where it falls. I know it's not perfect. I know there are some things where I'm like, what the heck is that? Or that was very rushed. I need time to process what was happening there. And in fact, I want to go back and watch it again to make sure I understood everything thoroughly. And I hope I gave you all the right information about Dimensions in Time. If I did not, and you know I did not, please comment below and let me know. But guys, this is my impression of Dimensions in Time. It was different, and it was a charity. I had fun with it. I know it's not perfect by any means, but for what it was, I can say I was not bored the entire time I was watching it. And whether you like this or not, I'd still recommend seeing it to say you saw it. Dimensions in Time. Now I'm afraid I got the title wrong. Sorry guys, sorry. I really gotta go back and rewatch it, but I just think it's something that everyone should experience at least once. And yes, guys, now we know that there was something that happened in Doctor Who in the 90s besides Doctor Who, the movie. There was the Children in Need special of Dimensions in Time, and whether it's canon or not, it was definitely there. So guys, have you seen Dimensions in Time? Have you not seen it? Are you planning on going to see it? Again, I recommend you do go see it. I'm sorry I don't have many long opinions about this one, but I didn't really want to do a long, drawn-out opinion for it. I want you to go and kind of watch it for yourself and determine what you feel for it on your own time. Don't let me tell you what I feel too much. Decide what you feel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and for the person who told me about Dimensions in Time, thank you so much for telling me about it, because I did not actually know it existed, and it was well worth the time I sat to watch it just to say, hey, I watched it. I know that it was a thing once. Yes, everyone, Dimensions in Time, Doctor Who was a thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, guys.